and welcome to Awaken the Rebel. Today we have my stripper sage bestie on. Christina Dunbar, the infamous. Thank you for being here, bestie.
I love you.
Oh my God, you're so much fun.
What an introduction. That will forever be my name.
Yeah, I mean,
in your mind.
Exactly. The first time you were on my podcast, that was the title of the episode, my stripper sage bestie. And then I was like, that's it. Now she's on a second time, but we're just going to keep that shit rolling because it gets me off.
I know.
So, okay, so today we want to talk to you guys about some things. So first of all, I consider Christina a guest host on Awaken the Rebel. She is a brand and a person and a human and a soul that I endorse fully, okay? So, yeah, you're going to see her on here repeatedly. We're going to jam together. I feel like we're like sort of philosophical buddies and sisters anyway, so we might as well do it on the mic and invite you guys into the conversation because it's fun for us to geek out like that.
Yes.
So today we're going to talk about something she was just telling me about. So actually, why don't you kick us off, girl?
All right. We'll start fresh with what's happening in my world yesterday, basically. Got a download. I'm going to share it with you right now.
Love it.
So who is a Big Little Lies fan? Me.
Yes, Gwen.
So the new season is starting. You know that, right? Have you seen it?
I haven't watched yet.
Okay. So my husband and I were watching the first episode of the new season, and there is a scene where Meryl Streep's character, who is the mom of the guy who died. I don't know their names.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I didn't know that's who she was playing. Good to know.
Yeah. She spots Reese Witherspoon in a restaurant, and she says to her, she's basically like sizing her up, and she kind of disses her and digs her, like gives her a little dig, and she says, I know all about you. You're a wanter. A wanter. And she doesn't say it in a nice way, like you just want too much. You're always wanting. You're that type of person. And that Kaya, my husband, was like, he was watching that, he's like,
Uh-oh.
And I was kind of looking at him. And the next day we sort of had like a come to Jesus moment. We've been having a couple of those around baby stuff, like really deep conversations around whether to have a child, not have a child, which is a whole nother thing.
Totally.
Being a creative, being an artist, being a free spirit, and realizing what comes with having a child and really doing the adult thing and talking about it very responsibly. And can I say also very boring?
So boring.
It's so boring. It's like, what is the right? It's numbers. It's logic. It's adult and it's responsible and it's good. It's good. But I'm also like, I just want to be wild and make a baby.
Yes.
But anyway, so we were talking about the baby thing, and then that, you know, as it is, life is not just one part of life. It like flows into all of it. So as we're talking about baby stuff, it also flows into creative stuff, being an artist. And Kayam's like, you know, you are a wanter, I think. You want a lot. And he's like, and that's awesome, right? But he goes, are you able to take everything in that you've created? Are you really happy? Are you enjoying life? And he was asking me these questions, and I started bawling, like totally crying. Of course, day 4 of my period, so I'm super tender, super sensitive.
Yeah.
But I'm like, ding, 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 you're hitting on something.
Yeah.
And as we sort of like dug underneath the baby stuff and wanting to have a family and more family time and just all of more of what I want, it was more than just the baby stuff. It was like I want to create more moments with him, and he wants to create more moments with me. But he's also noticing how I get really into my work stuff and head down and like the next goal. Yeah. And there's just something sort of missing that's beyond just the baby. It's this thing of like really fully being in the poetry of life, meaning being present, being spontaneous with him, and not just always being about work. And if he says, let's go take a walk, and instead of saying, I gotta work, me going like, yeah, let's take a walk, let's create a memory, let's do something out of the norm, let's say thank you for everything that we have. Stop waiting to live your life until like the next thing comes. And I don't know, I've had this conversation with him before, but something about it this time just really, I was able to kind of like shift my perspective really quickly yesterday as we were talking through it. Like, whoa, he keeps saying, this is your life right now. This is your life. So it's not like when the next thing comes, I win and I get to check off all of the boxes. And by the way, this conversation, I don't know if you and I have had it before, but I know I've had it plenty of times because this is nothing new. This is like in my world.
Yeah.
This is part of how I operate. So it's the dance of going at, we always have goals. We always have dreams. Entrepreneurs, big-hearted creatives, we're always like looking to the next thing.
Yeah.
And how do we dance with that and really be like, fuck, I've done so much.
Yeah.
And bring back the human aspect too of the lives that we've touched with our art, with our message, with our work, the humans that we've connected to, and just like really taking that in.
Totally.
And being so, it's kind of like bringing awe back into your life, that feeling of awe, which we talk about as sort of living the poetic life, where you have those moments of awe which feel really spontaneous, where you can stop and just feel totally like filled up by the fact that you're alive.
Yeah.
And take that in.
This is so good. Oh, I have so many thoughts. So one, this feeling of awe, just because I geek out with Garrett about this kind of stuff, he always talks about how like research has shown that awe actually is like healing and really, really good for you physiologically, that it has a healing force within your body. So you're touching on something I think that's not only just like evident and important to discuss, but also like physically really great for our cells, you know?
Yeah.
And personally, I can 100% relate because, I don't know, there's a part of me that's like, this is almost like, you know, like the masculine side of me wants to like go after shit and make it happen and will things into existence and be like the master of my universe. But then the feminine side of me is just like, thank you for everything. This is so beautiful, and like bask in the energy of being versus doing. And I always need a balance. That's why like I can't be a stay-at-home mom because I feel like that's too much, like just like being in this life. But I can't be like a work full-time mom because that's too much like work and not enough of the like just being in like moments. So I've definitely had this a similar struggle of just feeling like almost like energetically like I'm like, oh, I'm going forward, and then like, oh, I gotta come down. I'm like, oh, I'm going forward. I'm like, oh, I gotta come down. And I feel like, I don't know, I almost feel like that's a little bit of like where you get to self-mastery with yourself of like what really is the balance, right? Of like how much I want to like push and will and like create versus how much I want to like relax and bask. And you're still actually able to create from that space, just in a more magnetic manner and just like in a more relaxed, receptive, creative energy. But just specifically, like lately I've been thinking about like owning versus renting. Like you and I went to lunch like a week ago or whatever. And I said the thing that I always freaking say to you, which is, Ken and I will never be able to afford a house here. Like we live in literally like, I think the most expensive place in the entire United States of America. So like I always say that like Kenny and I will never be able to afford a house here. And I say that with this feeling of like being discouraged or feeling deflated or feeling defeated, you know, because I'm just like, damn, it feels like we're barely surviving here. I don't feel empowered. I don't feel abundant. I don't feel excess. I feel lack, actually. Like I actually feel like, dude, I don't know, like it doesn't feel secure to me to not be able to buy a home. We have kids. Like I really like the school district. I want to stay here. How do I know we're not going to get kicked out by our landlords? Like that's the fear cycle, right? So I just go, la, 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 and it just keeps going.
Yeah.
But I was actually, it's so crazy lately. I've been trying to like revamp my life, you know, where I'm like, I'm gonna get a Vespa because I missed that Mini Cooper convertible, and so therefore I'm gonna like be a mom who also has freedom in her life, like trying to figure out ways to like really reinfuse my spirit into this version of life, you know. And just the other day I was like reading this book by Nicole Lapin called Rich Bitch, because I always like books with the name bitch in it. I don't know why. I get down on that. Give me a cuss word and I'm all in. So anyway, and she was talking about owning versus renting. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm so happy she's talking about this because I need somebody to tell me like financially what's the best decision. I feel like my fear wants to buy a house because I want to feel secure. I want to feel like we're building a nest egg. I want to feel like I know where we're going to live or be able to afford where we're going to live when we retire. All that fear energy of like fear of the future, you know?
Yeah.
But from her like analysis based on the requirements, she basically was like, look, I think that we as a society are convinced and brainwashed to think like you need to buy a home and that's going to give you security. And she was like, it's really not true. Buying or renting is like a really personal decision. And here's all the criteria that's either like if you are all yeses to all these questions, then sure, buy a home. But if you're not, then really you should probably still keep renting and like wait. And after hearing that, and feeling like, oh, okay, I can stay where we are, rent, be here, and basically relax about that lack energy of like, it's too big, it's too far away, it's too expensive. And even the thought of like, let's say we did buy a home, I'm like, could we keep this up? I don't know if we could ever really like keep this up. It's too expensive here for us. So that like literally all that was diffused. All of that energy was diffused, and all of a sudden I felt so like relaxed, like I could actually enjoy my life, like I could actually relax and like be like, hell yeah, we live here and it's great. And like now I can focus on how to enjoy it and like go to the beach and like just love where we are versus feeling like we don't deserve where we are. We need to make more money to be where we are. We don't belong where we are. All that kind of energy was like, ugh. So I'm feeling you on this like wanter energy being present in my mind right now of like, how much am I actually just fucking making myself miserable when I'm just choosing to believe I need more than I have right now?
Yeah. Yes. I think the first thing that, as you're talking and we're seeing this wanting energy, the word wanter, the thing that I'm thinking about is also the difference between longing and wanting. And this is my sort of explanation of that in this moment. I think that a lot of times we can want something that's actually not truly a deep soul desire. It's something that society says we should have. We should have the house to feel secure. We should have the baby to make the family complete. We should X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. And even in business, you should make this amount this year. You should be doing this, all these things to make that amount. And it's just a constant, these kinds of discussions remind me of, first of all, figuring out what it is you truly long for in your heart, what your heart sort of kind of aches for and actually truly desires, and how can you hold on to that and be in that space of longing while also loving your life. And then how can you let go of the things that you want that really maybe they aren't truly your desires. Yeah. Or they're causing a lot of stress in the moment and they're just not meant for you right now. Like, how can you put those down? Yeah. And I think it's a real constant check-in around what is the life that I really, really want to create and I want to build. Yeah. And part of that for me is, you know, you mentioned the word balance, and I think balance is a tough thing. I don't know if there's such a thing as balance, especially for women with juggling so many plates and the roles that we wear. But what I do feel we can do more of is sort of water the different areas of our life so that we don't feel like we are trapped in just the mundane, whatever that is, whether that's like taking care of the kids 24/7 or running the business 24/7 or the career or the whatever, watering these different areas. One of our healers that we love, Candace Veach, an amazing acupuncturist here in LA, she talks about the 5 bodies. And I don't know a lot about kind of what her idea is around that, but I've heard this you know, in different healing modalities, they talk about like air, water, earth. And for women, I think there's a woman, actually Sarah Jenks, who has a program called Whole Woman, who talks about the different, basically watering these different areas. And I forget how she sort of names them, but basically like air represents one thing, fire represents another. Fire, I think, is sensuality and pleasure. Air is, I believe, mind. So like work, career. And then there's the other one. So how do we, for me, I wasn't watering enough of the other areas. It's been, even though I love my art, I love my artistry, and my artistry is also a business. And so I love it so much, but I can't put 150% into that and forget about everything else, because for me, I feel depleted.
Yeah.
I don't feel nourished. So that's when we're talking about when Kayam was mentioning, like, oh, let's go for a hike, get some air, get some nature, move your body. Let's take a yoga class. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's get out of the house. Don't just be on the computer all day focusing on this one thing, trying to get to the next goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true, man. Just the watering of the different areas. Like, yeah, I feel like it's like motherhood's been a major thing that's been watered for the last, let's say, like 3.5 years. And then maybe like for the last 1.5 years of the 5 that I've been a mom, I've been starting to water the career one more. Like, okay, like let's like do our thing and executive coaching and whatever. And I think right now the like obsession with Vespa or like maybe a Jeep is that I'm wanting to water like freedom,
yes,
creativity, fun. I literally, I just want to have a lot of fun. That's like all I think about these days is like, how can I have the wind in my hair again? Like, you know, and I'm just like, and you're right. I think it's just different seasons at different times. And I do feel suffocated and depleted if I only focus on 1 or 2 areas. Like I do need to feel that sense of like I live a dynamic life. Like there's different areas of my life that are being watered. Like if I'm hanging out with my girlfriends too much, then I actually just want to stay home and like watch Netflix with Kenny. You know, like just that I love that idea of watering the different like trees or bushes or whatever they are at different times to keep balance or whatever you want to call it, but basically like to keep to continue to feel like my life is dynamic. I'm not just one thing, I'm not just one role. I get to be every different like shade and side of myself, and all of me is welcome here versus like just being like a cog in a wheel or feeling like a pigeonholed
Totally. And I think it also depends too as women just where we're at like in our cycles too, because we have more energy at certain points. We want to be more outgoing, and sometimes we want to be more inward, and especially when we're bleeding, and right before we're more creative, maybe we want to write more. And so there's just a lot. But I think for me the big takeaway from yesterday's conversation was really about how do I am living my life now, not someday. Not someday when I get this thing or that thing, or like I said, check all the boxes. How can I fully live my life right now? And it's just, again, sometimes that perspective shift of like, it's happening right now.
Yeah.
All these things that you say that you want, you're actually watering the seeds and creating them, and life is still happening all around you. Yeah. It's like I can get so singular focused of that next thing, and it's sometimes, again, shadow and light, that can be really healthy because it'll help you push out a project that needs that extra love and attention. Yeah. Like doing something, what it's like to launch something or create a show. It takes energy and focus. And so there's the beautiful part of that, but also just being very aware of when it is keeping me down, keeping a system down.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Like maybe taking over too much, like just dominating. When really you might just need a hike, boo.
When you go on to like, that robot mode where you're like, no, I'm fine. Like everything's good. And I'm just
good.
I'm good. I'm doing my thing. I'm working on this goal. And it's just really, I think, knowing your values too, because I am a person, when I've said this before, I feel like I'm sure so many can relate. There are so many different women living inside this body.
Right?
That actually want very different things.
There's actually 10 of us in the studio right now.
Say hello to my friends. But I can ignore a lot of those voices to the detriment of my health. Right? Do you know what I mean by that? Like there's a voice that is like, I just want to go off into the woods and be by myself and like write poetry. And sometimes I take it too far. Like I just want to go live in the woods, but I would be bored if I lived in the woods all year long.
Right.
But I think when that voice comes up, instead of just ignoring it, it's like, oh, some part of me actually is saying you need space, you need quiet, you need stillness, you need to be away from the city. And how can I honor that in a way that's can fit into your life right now. But I can swat away those voices of like, I want too much.
I'm being just so hippy dippy wanting to go away in nature. Let's stay at our computer when really your soul's like, sweetie, we need some like hydration right now. Like I'm parched. Give me some water.
Yeah.
I totally get that. And I'm actually also, I tend to be kind of extreme where it's like, I think this is why I offer the moms retreats, is because I feel like it's really hard for me to get the amount of quiet or nature or like detox that I need in my life. And so I'm like, let's go away literally into the woods for 3 days and we'll do a digital detox and a juice cleanse and we're going to do Reiki. It's going to be all kinds of like super nourishment, because there's a part of me that tends to be very extreme. Like, and also I just need that. I need to just get away. But just recently I found a way to like get my little hippy dippy on inside of my life. So it's like, it's summer, like it's warmer out. It's so I'm like feeling the summer vibes right now. It just feels so good. I was definitely in the red tent last week on my cycle. And this week we've come out to play.
We are done.
We're done red tenting and we want to come back out.
For people who don't know what that is.
Oh, yes. The Red Tent is an amazing book about women and tribal things and how basically back in the day they used to literally go into a red tent when they were on their period. And it was really this like beautiful ritualistic thing where they were honored during their cycle versus us in our patriarchal society being like shamed for bleeding.
Totally. You're wrong. You're dirty. Stop that right now.
Yeah.
That's so
Stick a
gross.
tampon in it and don't let anybody know what's happening.
Push.
Quiet that down. So it's warm. It's nice out. It's beautiful. And so like I was sitting in my little yard the other day and I saw this like, I was sitting under a tree and it was so nice sitting under this tree that I thought, man, I want to sit under this tree more often. And so the two actual like comfy cushy chairs in my yard, I moved so that they were under this tree and that this would be like a spot that I could like would be my little nook in the front yard. But it's like tucked away enough to where I don't feel like any neighbors can see me or any of that kind of stuff. This morning, I woke up at like, yes, I got naked and went in the yard. No, it was like 4:30 in the morning and I'm like, nobody's up right now. It's like 4:30. I'm trying to sleep. It's like 4:45, 4:50. I'm like, screw it. Let's get up. I make my little lemon water. I take my morning pages. I sit in my nook in my yard at like the butt crack, like the sun wasn't even up yet. And I was just so happy and it was so quiet. And it wasn't even that long, honestly. It was probably like, I probably sat there for an hour writing things I'm grateful for, enjoying the space, literally writing. I can hear the birds chirping. I can hear the crickets chirping or whatever I don't know what their noise is called. But it was just so nice to have the quiet and to be able to just be in the moment and like sip my little lemon water and have no demands, no needs, nothing to do. And enjoy that moment. And then I found myself, after going back inside, like really wanting to wake up my kids and snuggle them.
Oh, because you got what you needed. You got nourished first.
Yes. I got like time and space to just be.
Yes.
And then I was really available to like love and be loved and be in my life versus like when you're just grinding, it's like, oh God, it's a lot. And there's like a feeling of overwhelm or wanting to push things away.
Totally.
I feel like I was like, no, I want to let it all in right now.
Right. I don't remember if I mentioned this last time. Was it, I think, Tony Robbins who talks about it's not the amount of time you have, it's the amount of energy you have. So
true.
It's totally the thing of like feeding yourself first, nourishing yourself first, whether you have kids or a career or a big ass project that you want to birth into the world. And I don't know, it's easy to forget that for me. So I get it. Like the importance of nourishing and realizing that it is all connected and it's all ripples into that, it ripples into my joy, my health, my well-being, ripples into everything else I do. Yeah. And that comes first. It's like rewiring our brain.
Yeah. It's so good.
Remember that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's why it's important that we have this conversation. I don't think that our topic today is like super profound and nobody's thought about it. I think everyone has struggled with it, particularly dreamers, artists, entrepreneurs, freelancers, people who are like trying to carve out their own lane, doing their own thing that they love, you know? Like I feel like that's the type that's going to like maybe push so hard it hurts because they're passionate about it. And then burn out, all the things. I just feel like it's always sort of like, I don't want to say a struggle, but I feel like it's always like you have to really maneuver, like how much do I push versus how much I sit
Yes.
back, and how much do I push versus sit
When
back.
when does the contraction come? When is it
Yeah.
time to push? When is
Yeah.
it time to breathe? When is it time? I know. It's such a fascinating thing. And it is a dance, and it is something I agree that so many people come up against. And I think, again, like for me, it's a constant awareness of just coming back to this. Like, oh, it's, again, I'm living my life right now.
Yes.
It's not when... Yeah, it's like there's this voice inside of me that I think a lot of women can relate to this. I know a lot of the women that I work with can relate to the voice of like the perfectionist, and she's got like this, or she's almost like the dominatrix that is like, go, bitch, go. And she's got that whip, and she's just like not taking in everything that has been birthed already, that has been made already.
Yeah.
And it's so hard. So being so hard on.
Yeah. And I think you hit it with like, you have to always come back to like, this is my life right now. Like, I'm not chasing, like, it's it right now. Like, I'm doing it. And
Chasing, that's the word.
right?
I think chasing and pushing are actually two different things. And I think pushing is important. We as women have to push out a baby at some point in
Right.
the birthing process.
Get
so
that
it's very
baby out of there.
natural to push. But the chasing part is what I feel like for me. Thank you for, it's that word. So thank you for bringing that word in the conversation, because that is the word, that is the energy that I do not like, that I
Yeah.
can get into. That does not feel good. Pushing can actually feel good sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Pushing out your creative baby, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That can feel really empowering.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
out.
And it's like in there. Yeah. And like, it wants to be birthed. Yes. All that.
But chasing?
But chasing? Oh, hell no. We don't chase, but we do not chase.
No.
Oh, no, girl. We get chased.
Thank
Okay?
you.
Right?
Or we receive.
Yeah.
People can't see me right now. I like literally just opened up my legs. Like my whole body and my chest.
Yeah.
Oh, that was really interesting.
Yeah. So I think you're right that that's part of it, is like realizing it's here now, it's happening. And also, I think a second part of it is tuning into how you feel, or tuning into your energy. Because like when I think about how I felt when I wanted the house, right? One, I wanted something that I can't have right now, so that feels bad. I can't afford right now, so that feels bad. But then what's weird, this is like the weird residual effect, is that even when I thought about having it, like let's say, okay, cool, I sell an e-product and I make $1 million, boom, I buy $1 million house in Santa Monica. Bam, it happened. The next feeling is also lack. Oh shit,
Wow.
what if we can't keep this up?
Yes.
Oh shit, what if the like property taxes and insurance is actually too much? Oh shit, it just like even getting it felt like too much.
Interesting.
So, and also it felt like, oh, once we have it, this house is actually going to consume all the money we have. So there will still be a lack of freedom. I will still feel financially locked in because it was actually too much in the first place. And now we can't. It was so weird. It was like a vacuum almost, a vacuum or a void that was like literally all my energy was going into it, stressed around wanting it, stressed around having it.
So fascinating, because see, this is not my experience of you in the many, many years I've known you. This is a more recent thing, because I remember we would have conversations about the house, and you're like, I don't really care about the house. Like,
know,
it's
it's so
fine.
weird.
It's
I
so
know.
fine. And something switched where,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it's maybe now you have 2 children, so that brings something. But like, I saw the switch where it's like, no, and it became, like you said, that whole fear, vacuum.
fear.
I got to have this thing to
Totally.
secure.
And to be honest, I don't know why the hell this happened, because I've owned and sold real estate in the past, which is why I don't have a hang up about owning it. I'm like, a lot of people want to attain this thing they've never had. I've had it. I'm cool. Like, I don't need it right now. But for some reason, you're right. Something switched, something happened, and I, for whatever reason, decided that that's what I needed. It might be a little keeping up with the Joneses, actually, now that you got me thinking about it. It might be that enough of my friends at this point have purchased a home, so it feels weird to me that I don't own a home.
Yeah.
I probably only have like one mom friend who doesn't own a home.
Yeah.
Maybe like actually maybe 2, like, you know, people that go to my school and I just know that they like rent apartments or whatever. So I think that might be it. It might be keeping up with the Joneses thing. And then so back to the energy thing, like when I think about the home, when I want the home, blah, it's like a big huge vacuum that's literally like sucking the fucking life out of me, right? And then when I listened to the book and decided, you know what, it's not the fucking time, it's not even the fucking real, like, I don't want a house in Santa Monica, like, it just doesn't make sense. all of a sudden the energy was like so free and so abundant, because then I didn't think that in the future there was this vacuum of a house that was going to suck out all the money. It was almost like, oh, well, when I make money, well, now I get to have it. Like I felt this sense of like, oh, I get to have this, and now I feel relaxed, and now I feel like I have stuff, and now, oh, I could get a Vespa and have fun because there's extra. Not everything is a stretch. And so anyway, I'm saying this because I think step number one is realize what you said, which is I'm in my actual life right now. It's not out there. It's right here. And then I think step number two is like feeling into how you feel when you think about these things. Do you feel positive, good, abundant, free, expressed when you think about this goal? Or do you feel contracted and drained and deflated and all the like shitty shit that I'm talking about when I think about the house? And I think that often can be helpful when you're trying to tune in to what's a soul goal, what's something you actually need versus something you think you're supposed to have. That,
I think you're talking about, this is really hard for many of us to do. I think you're talking about feeling versus thinking. Yeah. Feeling you want something, feeling in your heart, like I said, that sort of that longing, that ache. Perfect example, I just saw an amazing artist do her thing, and she's a comedian. Oh my God, Joan, I've only seen her once, so I forgot her name. But anyway, I saw her on stage, and I was like, my heart, I felt that ache of like, oh, I want to be on stage more. I felt that longing. I felt it even hurt a little bit, but in a good way. Like a good, like it could be used as fuel. And in my body, I felt it. I didn't think I need to be on stage to be worthy, or I need to be, it's not a thinking goal. It's a feeling goal. And I feel that is actually a distinction that sounds really simple, but we're not taught how to feel our way into desires and goals. We're taught to think about them. Again, what does society want for you? It becomes a heady goal. It becomes something that your brain is like, yes, 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 but actually, and your body's like, no, 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 which is kind of what was happening for you, because your whole thing is freedom. Yeah. And that's not giving you freedom right now, boo.
No,
clearly.
boo.
Clearly. But yeah, really feeling into our hearts.
Yeah.
And again, what is the life that you want to create? What does your heart want to experience? What does your body want to experience? And at the end of this time here on earth, are you going to look back and be like, oh shit, I didn't actually experience and feel and love so many parts of my life because of XYZ. I'm not saying you got to love all your life, because life is hard and painful, and there's a lot in the journey. But
there's a lot.
But yeah, really tuning into the heart.
Yeah, that's really good, because there really is a body intelligence that we have that we are not taught to honor. Yeah, we're really taught to honor intellect and just sort of like Western culture type things, like intellect, statistics, all the things. And I think those things are wonderful and grounding and validating when you have them sort of combined with intuition and body intelligence and all those things. But I feel like it's not encouraged enough for us to tune inward and feel our way into what is really true for our soul, or our dharma, which is what we talked about in our first episode.
Which is not logical.
Yeah.
I think logic and statistics are helpful, but there's nothing like gut instinct. They did a study on CEOs that went for gut instinct over fact, over statistics, over all these, numbers.
Yeah.
And they did the best in terms of what they brought in money-wise.
Wow.
And I don't remember the name of the study and all that, but I do know that I read about it, and I was like, well, there you go.
I like it.
Gut instinct. That's body stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That's primal. That is following your intuition. That's following a hunch. That's following the things that are talking to you through your body, not your mind. Because sometimes it will make no sense. It'll be so illogical.
Yeah. It's so good. I love this conversation.
Yeah.
Though.
Me too.
All right, you guys. I hope that you liked us philosophy geeking out today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We will do it more often, because Dunbar is so damn amazing, which is obviously evident from today's conversation and probably any snippet you've ever seen of her anywhere. She's fucking rad. So thank you.
I love you.
Thank you for being
my
here.
rad sister.
I know. It's so fun.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
We get to geek together.
We get to geek together. Exactly. So, all right, you guys. Follow Christina at Christina Dunbar on Instagram, ChristinaDunbar.com. Is there anywhere else we should find you, darling?
That's fine.
That's pretty much it. Okay. We will see you on the next one. Holler.
Holler.